Welcome to Pathways to Success, a program that supports micro, small, and medium enterprises here on the Billionario News Channel. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Binondo in Manila is recognized as the world's oldest Chinatown. Foodies young and old flock to this place to sample authentic Chinese food and delicacies, some of which are already a staple in the Filipino diet. In 1912, a Chinese businessman opened a small stall at the heart of Ongpin, selling hopia, tikoy, and glutinous balls, and named it Eng Bee Tin. This small business has endured to become one of the most loved food stalls in Chinatown. We are honored to be joined today by the fourth-generation businessman of the Chua family, the operations manager of Eng Bee Tin, Royce Jeric Chua. Hi, Jeric. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's so nice to be on the show. Thank you for having us.
It's very good to have you with us. Let's start with the name Eng Bee Tin. It's composed of three Chinese words. Tell us the meaning behind this.
Well, those three Chinese words are Eng means forever, Bee is beautiful, and Tin is precious. Like all our customers, they're all very precious to us.
Yeah, and how does this connect to your business mantra in the family?
Well, sa amin, the most important thing for us is to always, Eng Bee Tin is known for being innovative and being sulit. So I think that's the most important thing that we do, is in every product that we come up with, in all the stuff that we do for our customers, dapat sulit, and dapat it should be innovative para laging merong bago pag pumunta ka ng Eng Bee Tin.
Oo. Okay, maganda yan. Innovation is key also to growing the business, no? But let's start in the beginning. Yung 1912, that one stall opened by your great-grandfather, yes. But also it was your father who has been credited for growing the business. Yes. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, Eng Bee Tin has been around since 1912. We're currently 112 years na. But Eng Bee Tin had a lot of ups and downs. No? So, way back, yung mga Chinese businessmen nag-start dito, they were all coming from China. Bakit sila pumupunta ng Philippines? Because they wanted greener pasture. Kasi during that time, talagang mahirap yung buhay sa China, no? So, dito sila nakikipagsapalaran to check whether they would get a better life, and yung money na na-earn rito is being used to send back to China para naman meron silang pambuhay doon. And isa nga doon is yung great-grandfather namin, si Mr. Chua Chu Hong. Pumunta siya dito, nagtrabaho siya under a bakery rin. At that time, dati yung mga Chinese na galing sa China, pag pumunta rito, wala yung mga sweldo. Ang para sa kanila, importante is hand to mouth. Basta meron lang ako matitirahan ngayong gabi.
Basta may makain sila.
May makain sila. So hanggang sa dahan-dahan, syempre dahan-dahan nagkaroon ng konting income, nakaipon, nakapagtayo na sarili. And that's how Eng Bee Tin started.
Paano naman in-expand nung father mo yung business from that one stall?
So, from then on, naipasa siya sa lolo ko. Yung grandfather ko, hindi siya masyadong mahilig sa business. So, nagkaroon ng time, yun naman yung isa sa mga times na medyo hindi maganda yung Eng Bee Tin. Umabot to the point na wala kaming pambayad sa ingredients, wala kaming pambayad sa tao. Araw-araw pumuputok yung cheque namin. And then, yun yung time na yung father ko naman stepped in kasi, kumbaga, nagkakaroon ng time pag lagi kang problemado, parang wala ka sa sarili lagi. So, sabi niya, tutulong siya. Then, unang ginawa niya is, dati nag-aaral pa siya noon, ang ginagawa niya, every time after niya mag-aaral, tatanungin niya sa papa niya, magkano ba yung utang natin? Magkano ba yung cheque na in-issue mo ngayon para gagawa ko ng paraan para makapagbayad or mangungutang? Pero umabot kasi sa point yung lolo ko na basta sulat ng cheque, hindi niya na alam kung magkano yung kailangan bayaran. So yung father ko nagpupunta dun sa bangko, asking them kung magkano yung kailangan i-clear na cheque ngayon. No? So, to make the long story short, araw-araw naging ganun yung routine niya hanggang sa sabi niya hindi pwedeng laging ganito eh. By the way, yung father ko before, kilala siya sa Binondo for two things. No? Unang-una yung tinatawag na siraulo, tsaka pangalawa yung tinatawag siyang shoplifter.
Bakit naman?
Kasi dahil nga doon, wala na kayong pambayad sa mga tao, wala kayong pambayad sa ingredients. Araw-araw, tuwing umaga, ang gagawin niya, pupunta siya ng palengke, bibili siya ng ingredients, gagawin niyang hopya, babalutin, ibebenta. No? Araw-araw na ginawa ng Diyos. Pagkatapos niyang gawin yun, pupunta siya doon sa supermarket. May isang supermarket sa Ongpin dati, ang pangalan ng Ongpin Supermarket. Araw-araw pupunta siya, araw-araw wala siyang binibili. It came to a point na dahil nga wala siyang binibili at kilala na siya ng mga tao ron, araw-araw may nakasunod na sa kanya, nagwardya. Sinusundan siya kasi tinitingnan, saan kaya, ano kaya yung kinukuha niya, ano kaya yung inaano niya. So yun yung kaya naging suspect siya na shoplifter. Tapos tinatawag din siyang siraulo dahil bakit? Alam nyo, yung father ko, when he was 16 years old, nagbumbero na siya. He was a volunteer firefighter. And tinatawag siyang siraulo kasi alam na alam sa Binondo dati na ang Engbitin, walang bumibili, may financial problem. Pero nakikita nila si Papa na lagi nandiyan sa kalsada, nagta-traffic. Bakit siya nagta-traffic? Kasi nagta-traffic siya para umandar yung sasakyan, makalabas yung fire truck, sasampa na siya, responde sila na sunod. Kasi at that time, yun yung time na nagbubumbero siya kasi pwera nakakatulong siya sa kapwa. Nagiging nagiging way para matanggal. Iba naman yung iniintindi niya, hindi yung problema.
Para mawala yung stress
may ibang outlet.
Nag-volunteer din siya.
Din siya.
Pero at some point, nagkaroon ng change name, no? From Engbitin Hopya Factory, it's now Engbitin Chinese Deli.
Yes.
So, yung father mo rin yung nag-change ng pangalan. So, anong storya doon?
Yes, kasi ang Engbitin, hindi lang naman tayo nagbebenta ng hopya lang, no? We started with hopya, peanut balls, tikoy. But then, ang dami na natin ginagawang iba't ibang mga Chinese delicacies, no?
So, ano yung mga Chinese delicacies pa na nandun yung ginagawa nung tatay mo?
So, aside from gumagawa pa tayo ng mga candies, na Chinese candies, gumagawa tayo ng mga peanut balls, gumagawa tayo ng mga mooncakes, no? So, sabi niya, hindi lang naman tayo hopya factory, so let's change it to Chinese deli para naman it would reflect na marami tayong ibang ginagawa pa. And until now, gumagawa na rin tayo ng mga dinsum, gumagawa tayo ng mga siopaw, mga siomai.
Back then, may tikoy na ba along with the hopya?
Yes. Okay. Ang tikoy isa yan sa mga original na ginagawa natin. In fact, during that times, nung times na medyo wala ang Engbitin, kumikita ang Engbitin twice a year lang. Pag Chinese New Year, dahil gumagawa ng tikoy, tsaka yung mga iba't ibang mga bilog-bilog, diba? Mabenta yung hopya. Tsaka yung isa pa is pagka panahon ng peanut balls. Yan, isa rin yung sikat na produkto ng
favorite din ang peanut balls. Okay, doon sa ube-flavored hopya, kayo lang, no, back then, ang mayroong ube-flavored hopya. And it's also your father who invented this.
Yes. During the 1980s, pag sinabi mong hopya sa Philippines, dalawa lang yan. Hopyang munggo, hopyang baboy. No? Nagkaroon nga nung time na yon, no, na paano ba lumabas yung hopyang ube na yan? Since araw-araw nga, pag pumupunta siya dun sa grocery, meron na siyang escort, kahit naka-plain clothes, kilala niya eh. So sabi niya, nung time na yan, pumunta siya dun sa, saan ba yung pinakamalamig na part ng isang supermarket?
Sa frozen goods?
Frozen goods sa ice cream.
Okay,
so nagpunta siya dun sa nagbebenta ng ice cream. Sabi niya, Miss, ano bang pinakamabentang ice cream dito? Sabi sa kanya, ube. Tapos may narinig siyang voice, gawa ka ng hopyang ube. So, yung araw na yon, bumalik siya sa tindahan, kumuha siya ng pera, at last may binili na siya. Bumili siya ng 6 na jar ng ube halaya, tapos ginawa niyang hopya.
Ito yung binili niya sa grocery.
Binili niya doon sa grocery.
Finally. Pero back then, is it a Pinoy favorite yung ube o Chinese din mahilig sa ube?
Hindi. Ang Chinese before, pag sinabi mong hopya, ano lang yan, munggo.
Munggo lang,
Yes.
okay.
So, yun nga, is mga innovation sa atin. Kasi ang Engbitin, lagi kaming, we pride ourselves na yung ginagawa namin is hindi Chinese product lang. It's actually a very Pinoy product.
Okay.
Diba? So lahat ng ginagawa nating innovations, nag-start tayo sa ube, nagkaroon tayo ng pandan, nagkaroon tayo ng, ang dami na nating flavors, we have more than 20 different flavors ng hopya.
Right now, 20 flavors na, no? Ang galing din ng father mo, no? Na-capture niya yung Pinoy taste, hindi lang yung Chinese taste, no? Tapos, ito, it's a very interesting story na I hope you can tell us, yung major boost sa business ninyo? It's also because of your father being a volunteer in the fire brigade.
Yes. So, yung father ko, nung time na yun, sabi ko nga, si Miss Cory Crino, one day, pumunta siya ng Binondo. He wanted to feature 4 na things about Chinatown. Unang-una is Chinese fire volunteer, Chinese drugstore, Chinese temple, tsaka Chinese doctor. Si father ko, si Papa, yung na-feature as a Chinese fire volunteer. So nung na-feature siya as a Chinese fire volunteer, siya na rin yung tumulong na kausapin yung Chinese doctor, Chinese temple, Chinese drugstore para ma-feature sila. So to make the long story short, natapos yung feature, sumakay sila sa fire truck pa uwi dun sa pinaka-base namin sa Binondo. Tapos tinatanong ni Miss Cory, Jerry, taga saan ka ba? Sabi niya, ma'am, taga dyan ako sa Engbitin. Meron kaming malaking
may
signage dun sa
Engbitin,
labas, nakalagay na, Special Hopia Ube available here. Sabi niya, Jerry, ano yung Hopiang Ube? Kasi wala kang Hopiang Ube at that time. Sabi niya, ma'am, gawa ko po yan. Tapos, yung time na yun, niyaya pa ni Papa si Ma'am Cory na, ma'am, kain muna tayo. Diyan sa kanto, meron dong isang restaurant, yung Chuan Kids, one of the oldest na Chinese fast food sa Binondo. Nung time na yun, sabi ni Ma'am Cory, di na Jerry, nagmamadali ako eh. Sa loob-loob nung tatay ko nung time na yun, tuwan-tuwa siya. Kasi puro utang na nga kami, wala rin siya pambabayad doon kung nagkataon.
Wala siyang pambayad. Pero yun, that's the story kung paano na-feature yung Engbitin sa TV.
After isang linggo or 2 linggo, tumawag yung staff ni Miss Cory, tinatanong niya, Jerry, napanood niyo ba yung feature? Sabi niya, hindi eh. Sabi niya, may promise daw kasi si Ma'am Cory sa'yo. Pupunta raw siya dyan, then i-feature niya yung hopya mo. To make the long story short again, dumating sila, then feature yung hopya. At that time, tinanong ni Miss Cory, Jerry, paano ba kayo gumagawa ng hopya? Meron ba kayong mga makina or something? During that time, wala naman eh. Mano-mano lang. Sabi niya, wala ma'am eh. Mano-mano lang. Sabi niya, sige, ma'am, ano ba tatanong niyo? Kasi first time niya may interview as a hopya maker. Sabi niya, hindi ba sa Jerry, relax ka lang dyan. Tinanong sa kanya, ito ang hopyang munggo. Pagbalik ko, may bago ako. Kinuha yung hopyang ube. Pinakita niya sa camera, tinikman. Sabi niya, wow, ang sarap ng hopya. Mr. Jerry Chua, saan mo bibili itong hopyang ube? Si Papa, during that time, para siyang robot. Sabi niya, sa 628 Ongpin, harap ng Binondo Church. Ganun lang. Then, from then on, doon na nag-start.
And that's the story ng part 2 ng feature ng Engbitin. Okay, we are taking a quick break. And when we return, let's find out the growth of Engbitin from a modest stall to a cultural landmark. Don't go away. Pathways to Success will be right back. Pathways to Success. We are still with Jeric Chua of Engbitin. Okay, now Jeric, let's talk about growing up into this business, no? Being born into this business. What was it like for you as a child?
Well, sa amin kasi kami, pinagmamalaki lagi ng dad ko na kaming 3 magkakapatid, hindi kami pinilit to be in the business. Pero yung dad ko kasi magaling siya. Ginawa niya, we were, kumbaga, mentally conditioned to be in there, diba? Paano? When we were kids, it's normal for us na after ng classes, pupunta kami sa tindahan, tumutulong kami sa pag-display ng products, nakakausap namin yung customers, we're able to talk with our staff as well, no? Kasi para sa amin, laro yun, but in the end, alam mo yun, nade-develop yung culture na you love the business din. So I think it's one way kung paano niya kami talaga ipinasok dun sa business na hindi niya kami pinipilit. Parang ganun.
Pero yung hopya ba, paborito mo bang pagkain yan?
Ang hopya, I still eat it every day. Hindi naman every day, but all the time. Kasi like, sa amin, it's very important for us to innovate, diba sabi ko nga. So every few days, meron kaming mga bagong products na kailangan namin tikman. I-check namin kung anong pwedeng improvements yung gawin. Aside from that, we always do yung mga quality checks din para malaman namin kung kamusta yung mga nasa tindahan.
Very integral yung product development, no? Pero lahat ba kayo na magkakapatid marunong gumawa ng hopya?
Yes. Ang dyan, actually, isa sa mga namin is we're very fortunate na after ng college, nakapag-aral pa. For example, ako nakapag-aral ako sa US. We were able to undergo baking science and technology courses para pagbalik namin dito, yung brother ko ganun din, yung sister ko ganun din, na at least alam namin kung paano namin i-improve yung product scientifically, kung anong pwede namin gawin para maging mas okay, maging mas masarap, maging mas maganda yung texture, diba? Hindi siya, kasi dati, kumbaga lahat on-the-job training, gano'n. So, aside from that na ginagawa lang namin before na doon kami nag-train sa tindahan, doon kami nag-train sa factory, nung pumunta kami sa ibang bansa, we were able to train ourselves pa. We were able to undergo short courses sa Taiwan, sa China, para at least pagdating namin dito, alam namin kung paano gagawin ng better yung product.
Okay, doon naman tayo sa expansion. So, from that one stall of your great-grandfather, your father was able to expand the business to 9 branches. Pero ngayon, ilan na ba ang branches ng Eng Bitin?
Eng Bitin currently we're around 45, I think nagpo-48 na yata.
40 plus branches, okay. Ang galing
So, actually, yun ang isang advantage na, syempre mas marami kami ngayon na andyan na yung brother and sister ko. So, hindi na mas mabilis na for us to be able to do things kasi tulong-tulong.
Pero wala kayong franchising up to now.
Wala.
Paano nyo na-manage yung businesses,
Well,
branches nyo?
Currently, talaga nag-employ kami ng mga staff, and then we also monitor yung, nag-employ, meron kaming mga POS machines to check yung mga stocks namin, para malaman namin kung gaano ba talaga karami yung kailangan ng bawat branch. So, we're trying to use technology, and also, syempre, naglalagay din kami ng mga staff na tumutulong sa amin, yung team namin, to be able to check yung mga branches namin.
More than 100 years in the Hopia and Chinese deli business, syempre maraming ups and downs yan, ano? Ano yung mga very important lessons that you have learned from the past, from all the challenges that you have experienced?
Well, pinaka-importante siguro dyan is kailangan mahal mo yung ginagawa mo. No? So, if you really like what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. So, at least kami, nandiyan kami sa loob ng business, even though we're working, we're enjoying what we're doing. So, alam mo yun, pag mahal mo kasi yung ginagawa mo, it doesn't really feel like work, and nakakapag-isip kayo ng something better for it kasi you're enjoying what you do.
Totoo yan. Sinasabi ng marami yan in the business na nagsusurvive even the hardest times. It's because they love the business, they love what they do.
Yes.
Tell us about the pandemic. How did you survive it? Kumusta yung sitwasyon back then for your employees?
Well, isa sa pinaka-importante sa amin lagi is yung staff namin. No? During the pandemic, isa ang Binondo sa pinakaunang tinamaan. Kasi nagkaroon kagad ng rumors na, oy, may COVID dyan sa Binondo, diba? So makikita mo parang ghost town kagad yung Binondo during that time. And hindi lang yun most of our stores are inside the malls. And at that time, diba, yung malls nagsara. So I think for around a month nagsara ang Eng Bitin. Tapos sabi namin, kailangan we should start up na kagad. No? Kasi even though during that time we're giving out dole-outs dun sa mga staff namin, hindi naman pwedeng laging ganun So, sabi namin, kailangan bigyan natin sila ng let's make them busy. No? So, nag-start kami mag-open ng stores. During that time, nag-open kami, wala pang bumibili. As in, kung anong binukas na, kung anong nagkaroon ng time na pag nagbukas ko ng tindahan, pag sara mo, yun pa rin yung laman. Pero we're trying to, para at least yung mga staff namin. Kasi sabi namin, kami kahit sabihin mong ilang linggo kaming walang income, we will survive Pero hindi naman lahat ng staff natin ganun So it was one way for us, sabi namin, dapat gumawa na tayo ng something na para at least meron silang ginagawa. And even during the time na sarado kami, we were able to keep, kasi meron kami mga staff na stay in sa amin So ginagawa namin during that time is to maintain, ang isa sa mga lagi namin iniisip is let's maintain na yung peace dun sa lugar namin. So along with our 5 volunteers during that time, namimigay kami ng tinapay, namimigay kami ng food packs, gumagawa kami ng food packs. Yun yung ginagawa ng mga stay-in na tao namin para at least yung area, yung community natin, at least peaceful.
So about the innovations naman, what were the innovations over the years?
Over the years, actually, Eng Bitin has been, I think, the pioneer when it comes to the Chinese bakery industry here in the Philippines. We were among the first ones to use yung pillow packing system. Dati ewan ko kung naalala mo, before ang hopya is nakabalot sa papel, then yun yung binibenta.
Hindi pa namin naabutan. Papel pa pala yun before.
Papel siya,
okay.
then bibenta ng gano'n, nakarolyo. Then we were the first ones to use yung pillow packing. And then we were also the first ones to use yung food x-ray machine. Para naman to be sure na yung mga customers natin, pag bumili ng products natin, at least na-filter out natin yung mga may problemang products.
Okay, you talked about tikoy earlier. Eng Bitin, syempre, one of the go-to places for tikoy. During the Chinese New Year especially, no? How do you prepare for the volume of orders?
Well, pag Chinese New Year, isa talaga yan sa pinaka-busiest days namin, no? So, normally during that time, 24 hours yung production namin, first of all. And then, aside from that, meron talaga tayong, nag-hire tayo ng additional help para at least maasikaso natin yung mga customers natin ng better.
Okay, it's time to pause for a quick break. When we return, let's talk about the market expansion of Eng Bitin. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Pathways to Success. We are still with Jeric Chua of Eng Bitin. Now, Jeric, over the years, 100 years in the business, no, what is the secret to keeping your products the favorite of Pinoys? Puntahan pa rin yan ng mga hopya, ng tikoy. Ano ang secret?
Well, I think we'll go back to the two things na importante talaga, no? Is yung pagiging innovative namin. Lagi kaming merong bago pag pumunta ka sa Eng Bitin. And pangalawa, yung pagiging sulit. And just recently, actually, we just concluded yung National Hopya Day. It's the first National Hopya Day na ginawa natin.
Kailan ba ang National Hopya Day?
It's always going to be it's always going to be the third Sunday of July. So,
at kayo ang nag-umpisa niyan,
yes,
ang Eng Bitin.
Eng Bitin ang nag-umpisa niyan. Kasi nga, sabi namin, meron tayong Lollipop Day, meron tayong Tinapay Day. Bakit wala tayong day na para sa isang very Filipino product, which is hopya? So, in this time, gumawa tayo ng 6 na kakaibang hopya, no, na highlights the flavors of the Philippines. Unang-una dyan is yung kaping barako.
May barako flavored hopya.
Meron tayong mango, no? Gimaras mango. Meron tayong Benguet strawberry na hopya. Meron tayong kamote na hopya. And meron tayong sibuyas na hopya. At ang pinakakaibang ginawa namin...
Sibuyas?
Yeah. Ang pinakakaibang ginawa namin na natuwa yung mga tao, no, is yung sisig na hopya.
Wow!
Which will be coming out around mga October. Ganun.
Wow, aabangan namin yan. Sisig, ha? Okay. What a way to innovate talaga. Okay. So, I was gonna ask you nga, what makes your products different from your competitors? Eh, ito na nga, ang dami yung kakaibang flavors. So, aside from that...
Ang importante sa amin is, sa amin, hindi mo sabihing mura ang Eng Bitin, eh. Pero, ang ano namin is sulit kami. Bakit? Kasi, unang-una, pag sinabi mong hopya, ang hopya ng Eng Bitin, halos wala nang ang balat, eh. It's always, almost puro palaman. Tsaka laging, we only use the best quality ingredients. Para naman, alam mo yun, sulit yung kinakain mo.
Okay, let's quickly touch on your export business, venturing into exports. May export kayo pero wala kayong branches sa Mindanao, sa Visayas. Why is that?
Currently, we export to 18 countries. Ang hopya kasi natin, no, we don't use preservatives, so maiksi yung buhay niya. Around 5 to 7 days lang. But sa ibang bansa kasi, we're able to freeze them. So pag frozen yung hopya, it will last a year, walang problema.
Okay, plans for expansion pa? Can you share with us? Tsaka yung plans nyo if you are eventually hiring a professional management team for the family.
Well, currently, no, what we're trying to do right now is we're really expanding right now. So asahan nyo po na in the coming future, there will be a lot more locations na closer to your homes, and of course we're building a new factory right now na it's going to be fully automated na. So ang maganda ron is we'll be able to sustain the quality and keep up with the demand.
And aabangan namin yung new flavors, onion flavor, sisig flavor, and barako flavor.
Yeah, and
Hopya.
yeah, we have strawberries as well.
Yeah, Benguet strawberry, that sounds delicious. Thank you, Jeric, for sharing your story and the inspiring story of your family business with us.
Thank you for having us.
That ends our show today. Thank you for your time and to our resilient and innovative entrepreneurs who continue to forge their path to success. Remember that the more you learn, the more you earn. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Thank you for watching and see you again here on the Billionario News Channel.